Hi everyone, this is Crystal and I am back with another 12 by 12 layout using one of the new cut files from scrapbook.com. So you may have seen it just before I started talking. I shared a picture of it on the screen. It's the Advent Calendar cut file, and for this layout I'm going to be using the Home for the Holidays collection from Pinkfresh Studio. I recently placed just a small order from scrapbook.com to pick up a few things from this collection just because it's super adorable and I just wanted to play with it mostly. So you can see I have the stickers, the puffy stickers, the mixed embellishment pack, and the ephemera, as well as the 12 by 12 paper pack. So I have already gone ahead and cut the cut file from some papers from this collection. I've cut the tree part from this one, and I don't remember what the name of it is. Let's see if I can find the other one really quick. Of course, here it is. It is Merry and Bright. Of course, you get two of each paper in the Pinkfresh Studio paper packs, and they are double-sided. They're the regular, they're the same as individual sheets when you order packs from Pinkfresh Studio. So I've cut the tree part with all of the little flaps for the Advent calendar, but I'm not creating an actual Advent calendar for this layout. I don't need an Advent calendar for this year, and I was thinking about what I might use to kind of put behind all these little doors on the tree, and I decided to document some of the ornaments that I have. So I have taken photos of a bunch of the ornaments. These are a particular set of ornaments. They're ones that my grandmother started giving me when I was younger, and then we've continued throughout the years, with some gaps in years for sure, but they are very special to me, and I definitely wanted to get them documented. I've also typed up my journaling. Both of these will fit behind one of these little doors. So if I can get it lined up, then you can see the journaling and the ornament pictures will both fit behind the doors. So that's what I'll be documenting. I've also cut the numbers that come along with this die cut, or this cut file bundle. You get a set of numbers 1 through 24. I've cut those out of just some regular red. This is red, not white. Red cardstock. I've cut them 4 times because I was thinking I might want to layer them up to make them thicker, kind of like more like chipboard. I'm not entirely sure if I'll do that or not, but I have the option of doing it. Since I was cutting, I decided to just go ahead and cut them a few times on this one sheet. I've also cut the stars. The cut file set comes with a double star in several sizes. I think this is the medium one, but I think I may have resized it just so it would fit nicely on the page. I did that in Silhouette Studio, and I've cut this one twice as well, both sizes twice as well, because again, I thought I might want to layer them up to make them a bit thicker, or even offset them like so. I'm not entirely sure yet. I cut those out of some Basil cardstock. This is pollen. So this is Basil textured cardstock in pollen. That's what I've used for the stars. And for my background, I know I want to use one of the sheets from this paper pack that is. I'm leaning towards, if I can find it quickly, this one here. It's a navy blue background with some white dots that kind of look like snow. Here it is. It's the back side of the cut apart sheet, this here. So that is what I'm leaning towards as far as my background goes. That is all I know so far, which, this is a big cut file, so it's going to take up a large portion of the page. So there's not much else that I need to worry about just yet. But I am going to go off camera and back this because these are going to be a little bit finicky, and I think that you've all seen how cut files are backed in multiple different ways before, but because these need to be lined up perfectly, I feel like you're just going to be watching the back of my head if I do that on camera. So I'm going to go do this off camera and come back to finish up the layout. Okay, I'm back. So I've already backed all of this cut file, and I'm not going to lie to you, it was not exactly easy. In hindsight, what I probably should have done is printed all of that on a single sheet instead of trying to cut each one of these squares apart and stick it behind these little windows. Because you get the PNG file along with the cut files, it would have been pretty easy to just take it into Photoshop, which is where I edited all these photos to size anyway, and just printed them out in this shape and lined everything up that way. That would have been much simpler. So if you have the ability to do that and you want to use this cut file, I would definitely suggest doing that. It was a bit tricky to keep it so that all these doors would open correctly and get enough glue around the outside that everything would stay in place and still not overlap all the other windows. Yeah, just a little bit finicky, but I got it done. I did end up using a tape runner instead of the liquid glue. That seemed to work a bit better. It stayed in place a bit better and was easier to kind of get in the exact right spot. Okay, so I've already stuck this down onto my backing paper, my background paper, just using my tape runner. I did take, this is just some plain cardstock. You can see it wasn't even 12 by 12. I just kind of ripped it in strips and added it to the bottom just to give this tree somewhere to sit, just to kind of ground it. And of course it looks like snow, like the snow is just falling down to the ground. I don't know if you can see the torn edges. I did that for some texture. I didn't want it to look too perfect. So what's next? I have already layered up the stars. I took both of the cuts that I made, the two large and the two smaller, and glued them all together just to give it a little bit more weight. That needs to go up there. And then I've started putting together the numbers. So this is just 2 layers of cardstock. I think I'm gonna just stick with the 2. I think that's enough, it gives it a little bit of a shadow, which is what I was hoping for. So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing these down, and then I've only done 1 through 10, so I'm probably gonna go off camera and do the rest of those, but I wanted you to see how I plan to stick these down and get them in the right place. So I'm gonna do that and then probably finish up that part off camera. So to adhere down the numbers, I'm gonna use liquid glue. This is just Scotch quick dry or tacky adhesive in a fine line bottle. That makes it a little bit easier to add it to the back of these tiny little numbers. And I'm just spreading a little bit on the back and then gluing it down. I'm just kind of eyeballing where they go because none of these flaps are going to lay perfectly flat on the page. It's not going to be completely obvious if they're not exactly lined up, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to you know, use my own best judgment to get them in the center of these little squares. So I'm going to glue down 1 through 10, and then I'm going to show you how I glued the 2 layers together. I'm basically just going to use the exact same process, just putting a little bit of liquid adhesive on the back of one of the numbers and then layering up the other one and just kind of squeezing it together with my fingers to make sure that they're perfectly lined up. So just going to pull off the number 11 from the sheet, just using 2 different layers for each one, layer them up, and then I'm going to set it aside before I glue it down to the page just to make sure that the glue dries just a little bit and doesn't move around once I stick it down to the page. The liquid glue does move around for just a few seconds before it adheres, so I want to make sure that those layers stay together before I add it to the flap. So I'm going to do number 12, and then I'll go back and add number 11 to the page, and then I will just repeat all of this process for all the numbers through 24 off camera. I didn't feel like you really needed to watch all of that, so I will come back here in just a second with all of that done. Okay, so now that all of the numbers are adhered down and everything is glued down to the page, I can start embellishing. And I'm going to keep the embellishments super simple for this page. So I'm going to start by going through the die cut ephemera. I will pull out a few things. I don't end up keeping everything. I thought maybe I would use those, the deer and the trees, and make it kind of look like an outside scene since there's snow. But I end up taking those off. I could have used them. I really actually liked the way that they looked, but I liked the idea of the presents under the tree, and it was just looking too busy, too full if I added both. So I'm going to end up taking the deer and trees off, but I will keep the presents and add some more on the other side. So I grabbed the stickers as well. There are repeated motifs on all of these different types of embellishments, so it makes it super easy to put together a page very quickly. The the part of the page that took a long time was the backing and the gluing of everything, but the embellishments came together just in a few minutes, so super simple once all of that part was done. So there is the other little bundle of packages, and this is where I pulled off that deer or reindeer, and I ended up pulling off the trees as well. I thought about including them, but like I said, it just was looking a little too busy, and I wanted to keep it really simple since there is a lot going on the page with the cut file. So there are some puffy sticker presents as well, so I'm going to end up pulling those out and adding those to the little clusters. And then there were two birds. One was a cardstock sticker and one was a puffy sticker. I added both of those to the tree. And then some snowflakes. So two of the snowflakes were from the ephemera pack and two were from the sticker sheet. And that creates a little bundle of 3 elements on both sides of the page, and I felt like it needed just a little bit something extra, so I'm going to use these enamel dots again in 3s in both of those clusters just to give it a little something else. And then that's pretty much it. So I have to adhere down these little bundles of presents, and I think that's pretty much going to do it for the page. I don't actually end up adding a title. It was starting to look super busy already, and I didn't really know what kind of title I would want to add to this, so I just left it without one, and that's fine with me. I don't feel like it really needs a title. So that is pretty much the page all done. So there are some close-up photos coming up. You can see all the little details for this page, and of course everything I've used, including the cut file, is linked down below. So if you would like to pick that up for yourself, just follow the link below and it'll take you to the scrapbook.com shop. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found some inspiration in this video and enjoyed watching it, and I will see you all back here very soon.